Thank you, Debbie. I would like to introduce, do something a little different and introduce a gentleman who knows our speaker very well. I'd like to introduce Dr. Ralph Bell to introduce our speaker.
Good afternoon, KVA. Thank you all for having me. It is indeed an honor to be here on this occasion. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and breast cancer is something that is very special to me. You know, I'm going to tell you about someone that is special to me. I look around this room and I know that there are many, many people, many survivors in this room. And it's sort of awkward to stand, but if you're a survivor, would you raise your hand if you are a survivor of cancer? Way up. If you have a family member that has been stricken with cancer, would you raise your hand? Oh, look around. If you know of someone, a friend, coworker, would you raise your hand? Cancer is no respecter of persons. It affects us all. I am a pastoral counselor and the executive director of Sheltering Grace Ministries, and I am a breast cancer survivor. 8 years ago, I was sitting on my couch and just happened to rub my hand across my chest, and I felt a little lump. Well, you know, men don't get breast cancer. I know of, I think, 3, don't know him personally, but Paul tells me his father was recently, not too long ago, diagnosed with the disease. It affects probably less than 1% of men. It's very, very rare for men. But I was sitting on the couch April of 2004, and I just happened to rub my hand across my chest, and I felt this little pimple. There was nothing really different about it. It didn't hurt. It didn't itch. It felt a little deep in the tissue. So I said to my wife, I said, Joy, you know, this feels funny. And she said, well, go to the doctor. I'm like, most men, if it doesn't hurt and doesn't bleed, I don't go to the doctor. Yeah. This was on a Friday afternoon about 12 o'clock, and at 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was sitting in the doctor's office. You see, I had been praying, and other people praying with me, that the Lord would show me what it was that I was supposed to be doing in life. Maybe some of you have been there, where you just know you're on this earth for something more than what you're doing. You just have that feeling that, excuse me, something is missing. Well, I owned a small independent insurance and investment agency in Marietta at the time, and ran that during the day, and I was a senior developer for a local healthcare provider at night. I managed their legacy systems. They got the enterprise system up and running, and I got laid off. When I felt that lump in my chest, I was in the middle of a 1-month severance package. So I went to the doctor, and I explained to him that, you know, I only had insurance for another 2 weeks. And he said, well, let's see what this is, and we'll do it in a hurry. That Monday, I had a mammogram. Tuesday, I had a lipectomy. Tuesday I had the surgical consult, Wednesday the lipectomy. And as I was coming out of surgery, the surgeon was standing there and he said, Mr. Bell, I don't know what this is. He said, I've done a lot of breast cancer surgery, and this is not breast cancer. I don't know what it is, but come see me next Thursday, and I'll have the report by then. Well, I knew in my heart that it was breast cancer. Now you have to understand, in my family, on my mother's side, on my father's side, there is absolutely no breast cancer. There are lots of other kinds of cancer, but no breast cancer. And why I felt that this was breast cancer, I know now, just led by the Spirit to be at peace with it. So that Tuesday, I came to see him, and he walked in the office, and he said, I am so sorry, but it is cancer. And, I was able to tell him at that time, don't worry about it. It's really not for my destruction. Because I had an inkling that Friday when I felt the lump, that that's what it was. Went through, 2 weeks after that, went through a radical mastectomy on the left side, took out all the breast tissue, 14 lymph nodes, and there was no involvement with any of the tissues, so it had not spread. I decided not to do chemo because I'd heard about that, and my father, excuse me, died with lung cancer, and I know what chemo does to you. But I was talking with a friend who was diagnosed about a week after me, and this was about 2 months after, I finished my surgery, and he said to me, if you don't do chemo and you're talking about starting a support group, how are you going to relate to people, that's going through chemo, that's sick and what have you? And I thought about it, and I said, well, okay, I'll do chemo. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to get poked in the eye with a sharp stick to know what that feels like. So I went through chemo and was not able to complete it. Chemo really destroyed my body. Cancer is a vicious thing, and the treatment is doubly as vicious. But after that, I did start the support group, very successful support group at Roswell Street Baptist Church. One afternoon after, your father, I think, started that 5-year treatment. I got started on that 5-year treatment, and I had been on it about 2 weeks, and I was sitting home on the couch, and the phone rang. It was the oncology nurse, and she said, Mr. Bell, I just wanted to check on you. You've been on the treatment now for about a week, a little over a week, and wanted to see how you were doing. And I said, it's funny. I was just getting ready to call you guys because something is wrong with me. 12 o'clock, I'm still in bed. I have no energy, no get up and go. I really don't care about much. And just the other day, I was sitting on the couch, and out of nowhere, tears just started streaming down my face. I don't know why. And she said, well, it sounds to me like you have PMS. Tell your dad. It turns out that little white pill that they give you that you have to take for 5 years is an estrogen-based solution. See, because there's less than 1% of men that get breast cancer, there is absolutely no difference in the protocol in the treatment for breast cancer. It's male, female, it doesn't matter, the same thing. It was and has been a tremendous journey for me. It has given me opportunities to speak to groups like you, to share my testimony, and to encourage men to please pay attention to this. Less than 1% is not many, but what if it was you and you did not actually take action? You see, 30% of men that are diagnosed this year, will die this year because they ignored the symptoms. If you are having symptoms, and Lord knows if you are, you really do need to understand that yes, we have chests, but in those chests there is just a little bit of breast tissue, and you can get breast cancer. I know that some of you might even know men with breast cancer, and probably most of you don't. When I was diagnosed, it took about 4 weeks for them to find someone, because they typically try to find someone with the same cancer that you have, to just encourage you, to talk to you and what have you. It took them 4 weeks to find someone, and when they did, they were out of state. So it is truly, truly rare, but we do, guys, get breast cancer. I have a mammogram now every year, and it's no fun. I tell my wife, that little white pill really for 5 years did affect me, and, you know, I have a true appreciation now for what my wife goes through, and I tell you, if this is what you go through every month, heaven help you, because it's flat awful. I mean, you know, when you can't control your emotions, and I really did not appreciate that before, but when you can't control your emotions, it is an awful thing. And so you ladies, heaven help you. I salute you. But, you know, on a serious note, again, mammograms do save lives. Early detection will determine not only your survival, but the quality of life that you have after treatment. Group this side, normally there are questions, so I'd like to just answer any questions that you might have, if any of you have any. Stunned, huh? Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for having me, and it's been a pleasure being with you this afternoon.